So then, we want to install Babel on our computer to convert modern, potentially unsupported JavaScript into older, fully supported JavaScript. That's what we want to do. And to do that, to install Babel on our computer, we're going to need Node and NPM installed on our computer first, so that we can run JavaScript code directly on our computer instead of just inside a browser. That is what Node allows us to do. Now, it may be that you already have Node installed on your computer without you even knowing. So to see whether you have it or not, we need to open up a terminal and test it. Now, to do that in VS Code, go to View and then go down to Terminal down here and click that. And then inside the terminal, just type in Node-V. If you see a version number right here, it means you have Node installed. Now, I've got Node version 10.13. Now, you might have something else, but if you need to install Node, you're not going to see a version number. So at that point, you need to install Node.js. Now, to do that, you need to come to nodejs.org and then click on this button on the left over here. So if you click on that, it's going to download the package, and then when it's downloaded, just open that and go through the installation steps. I'll quickly go through those with you. So let me just open this file up. So just click on Next to begin the setup wizard and accept the terms, then click Next. Just keep it installed on your program files. You can change it if you want to, but I'd keep it installed there if I was you. Press Next, then press Next again, and then finally click Install to install Node.js. I'm not going to do that because I already have it installed on my computer, but if you click Install, that is going to install Node and NPM onto your computer. So once you've done that and you have it installed on your computer, then come back to your terminal, and in fact you might need to close off VS Code, then reopen it, then go to your terminal again for this to work, then type Node-V again, and you should see a version number. Like I said, you might have to restart VS Code to see that number, so make sure you do that. So now we have Node installed on our computer, we can just run JavaScript code directly on our computer and not inside a browser. Now, this is important because we need to be able to do this to install Babel, and Babel needs to be able to convert our code. This is all done directly on our computer before it even gets to a browser. Babel doesn't convert code inside the browser, it does it on our computer first, and then we run that older code in the browser. So in order to run that code on a computer, that's why we needed Node, and that's how we're going to install Babel. Now, I also mentioned that we needed something called NPM, the Node Package Manager, to actually install the Babel package. Now, this is automatically installed on our computer when we install Node.js. So we can use it to install Babel into this project folder. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is just clear the terminal right here. Then I'm going to cd into chapter 19, because that is where we're going to do all of the work for this chapter. So chapter_19. And CD just means change directory. So currently I'm in the recording directory. I want to go into chapter 19. You might already be in this. So let me press enter, and then I'm going to clear again. So then the next thing we want to do is install Babel on our computer. Now, before we install it, it's always a good idea when you have a new project which is going to be using NPM and relying on third-party packages such as Babel to initialize what's known as a package.json file. Now, a package.json file keeps track of the different packages we install into our project, and it also describes other information about the project such as the author, the GitHub repository for it, etc. So that if another developer comes to work on it, they have all that information to hand. So the way we create a package.json file is just by saying npm init. So this is an npm command. Now, when you press enter, this is going to ask us some questions about the project that we're creating. So let's just answer these by pressing enter. The package name, first of all, the version. We don't need to give it a description. The entry point, index, that's fine. Test command, git repository, keywords. You can just enter through all these and then just press enter at the end because this is okay. And now, if we open up chapter 19, we're going to see this package.json file, and it has this different information in this file, and it's also going to keep track of any packages that we later install. So this is a good habit to get into, saying npm init to create this package.json file whenever we're using some kind of packages inside your project directory. So always perform this step first and create this package.json file. So the next thing we need to do is now install Babel into this project directory too, so that we can use it to start transforming our code. And the way we use npm to install a package is by saying npm install and then whatever the package is called. Now we're going to say at Babel /core, that's the core Babel library, and also at Babel /CLI, that's the Babel CLI. So these are two packages we're installing. Now we're also going to say --save-dev, and that is going to save them to our developer dependencies. And we need to spell save correctly, like so. So --save-dev. So when we do this, it's going to save them to our developer dependencies and list them as a dependency inside this package.json file. So if I click enter now, that's just going to take a minute or so to install these packages and then add this thing, Babel CLI and Babel core, to our package.json file. So now if we take a look at package.json, we can see down here in dev dependencies these two packages which we just installed. And when we install a package into a project, we can only use it inside this project directory. We can't then go and make another folder on our computer somewhere and use it in there, because we save these as dev dependencies for this project only. Okay, so you'll also notice that we have this Node modules folder with a load of different stuff in it. All that stuff is package code. So when we installed the package, it installed all the code that we need to run that package inside Node modules. Now you're never actually going to need to really go into this folder or never edit anything in it. It's just there because that's where we install the package to. That's where the code belongs. And also you're going to notice it generates this package lock file over here. Never edit this either. This just locks down the different versions of the packages that we're using. So I'm going to cross that off now. So now we have Babel installed into this directory, we can go ahead and start to use it here to convert our code. But before we do that, we need to install one more thing, the Babel preset. So the Babel preset is just another package which we're going to install locally into this directory using npm. And it's basically just a set of plugins which are used to support certain language features. And we need them in order for our code to be converted correctly. So to install the preset, again, we're just going to use npm down here. We say npm install, and then it's called at Babel /preset env. We also want to save this to our dev dependencies. So do that and then press enter. So this is the preset which is going to allow us to use all of the latest JavaScript features, and it installs it into this directory locally and stores all the package files inside the Node modules directory. Now I've just noticed an error, and that's because I've spelt Babel incorrectly. So let me just do this one more time. npm install, and it's at Babel /preset env, and then we want to save these to the dev dependencies. So let me just double check this before I press enter. Okay, that looks all right. So that's just going to install the Babel preset for us now. So once we have that installed, we have to define the preset in a new file inside our project directory called .babelrc. So let me now come to chapter 19, press this icon for a new file and call it .babelrc. So in here is where we define what preset we want to use. So we do that by creating just an object like this, and inside we do a little quotation to say presets, and then a colon, and then we do array syntax, and again we do quotations, and we say what preset we want to use. Ours is the thing we just installed, so at Babel /preset env. So now when we run Babel to convert our code, it's going to know to use this preset because it knows about this file. It'll look in this file, see this preset, and use this preset to do it. So now we have everything set up to use Babel inside this project directory. Now this video might have seemed like a long and complicated process to get everything up and running, but once you do it a couple of times, it will become second nature to you. Now, as a quick recap, these are the steps that we performed. So first of all, we installed Node.js onto our computer globally. This is a one-time thing, and it means that we can run JavaScript on our computer. And when we did that, it also installed npm, the Node package manager as well, which we use to install other packages on our computer. Second, we used npm to create a new package.json file inside our project directory, and that keeps track of all of the different packages that we install into our project, as well as a couple of other things. Third, we used npm to install the Babel core package and the Babel CLI package locally. And by the way, the Babel CLI is just so we can use commands in the command line interface to run Babel. And then fourth, we installed the Babel preset locally, and we registered that in the Babel RC file so that when Babel runs, it knows which preset to use to convert our code. So that is the whole process broken down into these 4 steps. And now we have a project environment which is set up and ready to use Babel to convert our modern JavaScript code into cross-browser compliant code that can work in pretty much every browser.